After confessing my feelings to the campus heartthrob and facing rejection, I found solace in drink late at night. To my astonishment, I awoke to discover that I had transformed into a plump orange cat. The one who retrieved me was none other than the notorious school bully. He carried me while eating, tucked me in during his showers, and even insisted on holding me close while he slumbered. Little did I know that this fellow preferred to sleep in the nude. 1. Zhou Chongqing, I have feelings for you. I shyly lowered my gaze and extended a pink letter. However, the campus heartthrob before me wore a stoic expression as he tore my love letter to shreds.
I'm sorry.
He assessed me with a disdainful glance from head to toe. I don't like chubby girls. Chubby. That word struck me like a thunderbolt, shattering my spirit. At a dignified height of 5 feet 3 inches and weighing merely 100 pounds, to be labeled as chubby was more painful than the rejection itself. Under this double blow, I consumed an entire crate of wheat juice on the campus lawn, mourning my lost first love. As I drank, I succumbed to a drunken slumber. After what felt like an eternity, when I finally opened my eyes in a daze, I beheld a pair of large hands. He gently stroked my head, a sensation so comforting that I couldn't help but emit a soft purr. In the next moment, I felt a divine grip firmly seize my neck. I opened my eyes in shock. Before me was the enlarged visage of the school bully, He. I struggled valiantly, yet could not free myself from his hold. When I desperately attempted to cry out, only a meow escaped my lips. He revealed an evil grin. Haha, a cute little kitty. Now that I've found you, you belong to me. With that, he wrapped me up in his coat. I attempted to resist, but ultimately I capitulated. Thus, I was abducted by He and taken back to the boys' dormitory. When he pulled me from his clothing, a group of boys gathered around. Nice one, Go. Where did you get this kitty? He vigorously poked and ruffled my feline face, tousling my fur. Found her in the alley downstairs. What an adorable plump orange. Are you going to keep her in the dorm? I am not plump. Furious, I attempted to swat the hand off my head with my little paws. Is that a problem? Any objections? He raised his chin. The boys all shook their heads. And you, Zhou Chongqing, do you mind if I keep a cat in the dorm? At that moment, the boys parted, all eyes turning toward Zhou Chongqing. I was astonished. I had no idea that Zhou Chongqing shared a dorm with this guy. He cast a glance my way. Do as you please. Then it settled. He immediately leaned his face against mine, wearing a smitten expression. I will name her Princess. Princess? Such a kitsch name. I completely surrendered, allowing him to fuss over me. Hey, has Jean One confessed to you yet, Chongqing? Suddenly, a boy spoke up. Upon hearing my name, I perked up, eavesdropping intently. How do you know? The boy shrugged. I saw you two in the school's grove. Right, but I turned her down. Zhou Chongqing nodded.
Why?
He inquired, echoing my own thoughts. Indeed, why? I was equally eager to know. There was a slight lack of chemistry. What chemistry?
Hey.
He, where are you taking me? I haven't finished listening. However, before I could protest, he placed me in a basin. Good baby, Daddy will give you a nice bath. I am not your baby, nor do I want a bath. I want to hear my crush's opinion about me. I had intended to sneak away in the dead of night, but now I had changed my mind. I would stay here, gather intel on what type of girl Nanshan preferred before making my exit. 2. It is widely acknowledged that cats harbor a disdain for bathing. At the moment when he poured warm water over me, I felt as though I were cloaked in a sodden blanket weighing over 10 pounds. In that instant, I forgave myself for my feline aversion to baths. Yet, he was utterly meticulous, scrubbing me from head to tail with unwavering diligence. Following the bath, he retrieved a cat treat from his backpack, offering it to me. Who knows how long he had concealed that treat in his bag to entice me. Princess, meow meow meow, come and enjoy a snack. I turned my head haughtily. This cat never partakes in handouts. Meow meow meow. He waved the treat tantalizingly before my eyes. Delicious cat treat. Come here, come here. The enticing aroma of chicken wafted from the bag, and I swallowed hard. No, I must resist. He is the type of person brimming with cunning ideas. I cannot allow myself to be lured by food. Thus, I turned my head to the other side. What should we do? The princess refuses to eat, he lamented. Perhaps she's a bit frightened after just arriving. She'll eat when she gets hungry, suggested my roommate. He, disheartened, tucked the treat away. I thought my refusal of the cat treat would intimidate him, but come bedtime, he escalated his efforts. He audaciously scooped me up and placed me on his bed. "Since you are my cat, isn't it only natural for us to sleep together?" He cheerfully draped the blanket over me. I struggled fiercely, attempting to escape his grasp, but he effortlessly pinched my neck with one hand and pulled me back into the cocoon of blankets. At my wit's end, I bit him fiercely when he reached for me again. Hiss! He was taken aback, instinctively loosening his grip. Seizing the opportunity, I aimed to leap onto Zhou Chongqing's bed. "Handsome hero, here I come." However, before I could soar to his bed, an ominous hand seized me once more. Sure, he embraced me, and we tumbled into the bedding together. He leaned close to my ear, his voice a low murmur akin to that of a devil. "Princess, do you know what became of the disobedient little kittens I once raised?"
Meow.
This cat is not curious about such things. They were skinned and turned into delicacies. His fingers glided over my fur, lingering in a manner that was both intimate and deliberate. Battered in breadcrumbs, he squeezed my soft paw, and ultimately fried in oil, leaving the neighboring children in tears. Suddenly, he made a surprise attack on my sensitive region, causing my fur to bristle in alarm. Meow meow meow. This cat would never dare misbehave again. I surrendered, lying obediently in his embrace. Although sure his words may not necessarily hold truth, based on my past experiences of being bullied by him, I deemed it prudent to remain compliant. However, please do not undress. No one warned me that sure he sleeps in the nude. Even through the cat fur, I could feel the heat radiating from his skin. Warmth enveloped me, leaving a blush upon my cheeks. Of course, if cats could feel embarrassment, I attempted to wriggle free, but each effort resulted in a tighter embrace. I could even feel the chiseled contours of his abdomen pressed against my back. Oh, dear, I am soiled. As dawn approached, I finally closed my eyes. When I awoke again, the dormitory was deserted. Perhaps they had all gone to class, I mused. I leaped off the bed, meticulously surveying the dormitory as though patrolling my territory. Just then, my stomach grumbled with hunger. I was famished. It had been nearly 24 hours since I last ate. Yet, sure he had forgotten to leave me any food before he departed. Fortuitously, before I succumbed to starvation, this irresponsible master finally returned. At that moment, I was sprawled on the floor, and upon hearing the sound of the door opening, I immediately scrambled to my feet and rushed over. Meow meow, meow 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 meow. Regardless of whether he understood, I unleashed a torrent of complaints. Yet, he appeared utterly delighted. The princess welcomes her father with such enthusiasm. I am truly moved. I intensified my verbal onslaught. Sure, he fetched 2 bowls, pouring the cat food and fresh water into them. At this point, I could no longer concern myself with human dignity. I felt as though I could devour an entire cow. Thus, I pounced upon the food, voraciously consuming the cat kibble. To my surprise, it was quite palatable. Eat slowly, be careful not to choke. The man who often exuded an aura of intimidation looked at me with a gaze filled with affection. Affection? Perhaps I was mistaken. Sure, he extended his hand, cautiously petting my head, then gradually trailing down my body. It was a bit embarrassing to be seen in such a savage manner while eating by someone I disliked. As I munched, I furtively glanced at him. The midday sun streamed through the window, casting specks of stardust that danced in his dark eyes. In that moment, he appeared astonishingly gentle, a stark contrast to the memory I held of him. I swallowed hard, feeling my heart race beneath his gentle touch. Thump, thump, thump. Suddenly, the dormitory door swung open, and Zhou Chongqing returned. They exchanged pleasantries. Jean didn't attend class today. Did she tell you why she was absent? Sure, he inquired. As if I had transformed into a cat. How could I possibly inform the teacher? I grumbled inwardly, while chewing the cat food. Zhou Chongqing's tone turned impatient. No. Did she reach out to you after yesterday? Why are you asking so many questions? Why don't you just ask her yourself? Zhou Chongqing's voice grew louder as he slammed the door and left. I was startled by the sudden noise. Although I knew Zhou Chongqing had a temper, I didn't expect him to be so irritable behind closed doors. He was more intimidating than the school bully. Sure, he seemed unfazed. He pulled out a ball of yarn and played with me for a while, then added some cat treats to the bowl before taking his laptop and leaving. The dormitory fell silent once more. After waiting a bit, I assumed they had gone far, and then I approached the balcony. Though the balcony door was closed, it posed no challenge for me. I leaped from the desk to the doorknob, using my weight to attempt to twist it open. After numerous attempts, I finally succeeded in opening the balcony door. Fortunately, Shurhi's dormitory was on a low floor, and the branches of the trees in the lawn were almost within reach. I slid down the branches to the ground, hoping to find the same lawn from last night, seeking a way to revert to my human form. At the very least, I wanted to uncover the reason behind my transformation. However, my feline stature limited my view, and I questioned whether I could even escape from the boys' dormitory. Suddenly, an odd gust of wind brushed against my ear, and I instinctively dodged to the side. A stern-looking dormitory matron stood before me, her broom poised at the spot I had just occupied. "Hey, where did this stray cat come from?"
Get out.
I fled in a panic, sprinting forward as the matron chased after me, brandishing her broom in an attempt to shoo me away. Cornered against a wall, I spotted a small dog door and promptly squeezed through. What a misfortune. My carefully groomed fur was now disheveled. Since I had never been in the boys' dormitory before, I meandered for quite some time before finally reaching the main road. At this point, students were attending classes, leaving the campus eerily quiet, with only a few janitors sweeping up fallen leaves. Fearing they might chase me away like the matron, I darted into the landscaped area, retracing my steps toward the lawn from last night. Yet, the thought alone sent a shiver down my spine, as my mind was filled with images of Shurhi's abs. Ahem, after all, cats are nocturnal creatures and are bound to accidentally see such things. If Shurhi were to discover that his princess cat was indeed me, his expression would undoubtedly be priceless. After all, I am undoubtedly the girl he detests the most. In his middle school days, he was even more unruly than he is now, adept at brawls and mischief. Yet, teachers were powerless against him, for he was the son of a board member. At that time, I was a model student, naturally keeping my distance from such a bully. Even when he lounged at the milk tea shop by the school gate after class, I would take a detour to avoid him. However, one fateful day, his board member mother enrolled him in our class, and I, regrettably, was assigned to be his desk mate. Thus began my harrowing experience of enduring his tyranny. His methods were manifold, including but not limited to coercing me to fetch his clothes and water while he played basketball, compelling me to consume breakfast sent by his admirers, and even insisting on supervising me until I completed his homework before allowing me to return home. Initially, I was filled with resentment, yet remained silent. However, through excessive interaction, I developed an inexplicable, obsessive affection for him.
Who could understand my family?
The school heartthrob showing special attention to me, the sole girl, was a profoundly misleading illusion. Perhaps it was due to my first close contact with the boy, or perhaps I subconsciously believed the swirling rumors. In my vanity, I fancied that he might harbor feelings for me as well. Yet reality struck me hard when I overheard an upperclassman confessing her feelings to him and inquiring if he liked me. He responded as if he had heard a jest. Shaking his head, how could I possibly like her? She's so fat. I loathe her. Recalling this, my fragile heart ached anew. In a fit of vindictiveness, I even contemplated climbing into his roommate's bed right in front of him that night. Suddenly, a black dog lunged at me, baring its menacing teeth. Startled, I turned and fled. As the dog chased me, I bravely leapt onto the green belt, only to collide head-on with an electric scooter. The rider was equally startled, but the emergency brake was too late. I was hurled several feet away, agony searing through my insides. It felt as though countless needles were piercing my eyelids. Struggling to open my eyes, I vaguely perceived the driver approaching me. It was Zhou Chongqing. Thank goodness, I was saved. I closed my eyes in relief. However, when I awoke again, my heart sank. He had not rescued me. Instead, he had abandoned me in a small grove. The nighttime grove was eerily quiet, save for the whisper of leaves in the wind. I curled into a ball, acutely aware of my life ebbing away. If I did not find a warm place soon, I would succumb to the cold before the pain could claim me. Why was Zhou Chongqing this way? I had always believed him to be a cold exterior concealing a warm heart. After all, I had developed feelings for him due to a single act of kindness from him. Yet now, how had he transformed into this? I wondered if he would cry, unable to find his beloved fat cat. As the night deepened, the wind howled mournfully, prompting me to curl tighter. In my dazed state, I seemed to hear someone calling my name. Princess, princess. Oh my, could it be the Grim Reapers come to collect my soul? Meow, meow. Daddy has tasty cat treats here, meow. No, that voice sounded remarkably like Shurhi. I shot up, and there in the grove appeared a beam of flashlight, slowly making its way toward me. I'm here. I'm here. I yearned to leap with joy, but my frailty limited me to a feeble cry. Heavens! Sure, he rushed toward me, concern etched on his face as he carefully enveloped me in his arms. Don't be afraid, princess. Daddy is here. He carried me out of the grove, simultaneously calling out to the greenery, the cat is with me. Thank you all for your hard work tonight. A boy covered in leaves emerged from the bushes. Did you find her? Sure, he nodded. I'll take her to the hospital first. I'll treat you all to milk tea tomorrow. No rush, Sure, go, just get her to the hospital. She doesn't look well. I nestled within Sure He's embrace, drawing warmth from him, while the steady thrum of his heartbeat nearly brought tears to my eyes. It turned out he had enlisted many friends to search for me. He seemed not as malevolent as I had remembered. When I awoke again, I found myself in a veterinary hospital. The doctor had performed surgery, saving my life. During my stay in the hospital, Sure He visited me daily, incessantly lecturing me about the dangers of the outside world and insisting that little kittens should remain safe at home. Finally, the day arrived for him to take me back to the dormitory. He stopped to pick up a package along the way, revealing a zippered Mongolian tent mosquito net. When Daddy is not home, you must stay in bed obediently. As he closed the door, Zhou Chongqing returned. He glanced at me on the bed, his expression notably peculiar. Upon seeing him, I was instantly reminded of that day he had coldly walked past me, sending shivers down my spine. Being alone in a room with such a person instinctively felt perilous. However, he ignored my unease and answered a phone call, his demeanor grave. Yes, teacher. The last time I saw her was on the evening of the 26th. We didn't talk much. We parted after 5 minutes, and I don't know what happened. If she contacts me, I will inform you immediately. It suddenly dawned on me that he was on the phone with a counselor, seemingly discussing my disappearance. It had been nearly a week since I had transformed into a cat. I wondered if my parents were frantic over my absence. After concluding the call, Zhou Chongqing's demeanor darkened. He appeared to be seething, unable to find an outlet for his frustration, and kicked over my water bowl. You really are lucky. He scoffed coldly before storming out. I realized he must harbor a deep dislike for me, now reluctantly entangled due to my disappearance, and was likely growing impatient. How strange it was that I had ever found myself attracted to such a scoundrel. Just then, the bed beneath me trembled unexpectedly. It turned out Sure He had forgotten his phone. Fortune smiled upon me. I quickly opened the phone using the snooping password, intending to reassure my parents of my safety. A familiar phone number caught my eye. Compelled by an inexplicable urge, I opened the messages Sure He had sent to this number. I heard you were rejected. Do you need a shoulder to cry on? This is Sure He. Come on, desk mate, have you forgotten me so soon? No reply? You haven't truly forgotten, have you? Class 3, Grade 2, your most beloved and handsome desk mate, Sure He. Where have you gone? Why, Haven T replied. I came to find you. But your roommate said you Haven T returned to the dormitory. What happened? Jean Wan, if you see this message, please call me back. It's urgent. Jean Wan. I urgently need to find you. Can I come to find you? I'm begging you, tell me where you are. The screen was filled with his messages from the past week, a cascade of concern that seemed endless. No wonder he had appeared so troubled these past few days, constantly checking his phone while visiting me in the hospital, as if awaiting some news.
It turned out he was worried about me.
Suddenly, the phone vibrated again. I looked down and gasped in shock. Someone had sent Sure He a message. All is well, do not worry. I could hardly believe it, reading it 3 times before accepting the chilling fact that this number belonged to me. Who had taken my phone to send Sure He a message? What could their intentions be? I was frantic, yet utterly powerless. Before departing, Sure He even locked the balcony door, making it quite challenging for me to step outside. Gazing at the water that Zhou Chongqing had kicked over, a thought emerged in my mind. Perhaps it was related to the wheat juice I had consumed that day. I leaped onto the table, discovered a bottle of wheat juice hidden among the bookshelves, and promptly knocked it to the ground. The glass shattered with a resounding crash. I took a sip, and soon I felt a dizzying sensation enveloping my mind. After a brief moment of swirling, I had genuinely transformed into a human, though I was not clad in any garments. However, before I could revel in my newfound form, footsteps echoed at the door, followed by the sound of a key turning. Sure He's voice penetrated through the crack. Princess, what mischief have you been up to? Oh no. He must have returned to retrieve his phone and heard the noise of the glass breaking. With no time to ponder, as the door was about to swing open, I hastily grabbed a piece of clothing of unknown origin and dashed into the bathroom. Good heavens! Could someone explain why the bathroom door is malfunctioning? The dormitory door swung open. Princess. I immediately held my breath, peering through the keyhole. Sure He first rummaged through the mosquito net on the bed, discovering my absence. Then he checked each roommate's bed, even peering beneath them. As he approached ever closer, my heart twisted in knots, yearning to revert back to a cat immediately. Sure, he, unable to locate the cat and with the balcony door still shut, shifted his gaze to the bathroom. My heart had never raced as it did at that moment. Thump, thump, thump. Sure, he approached, attempting to push the door open, only to find it unyielding. Indeed, I had barricaded it with my body. Zhou Chongqing? He tentatively knocked on the door, yet no one responded. I held my breath, afraid to make a sound. Gao Yang? Li Lihong? He called out each name of the dormitory occupants, but still, silence reigned. Princess. He pushed the door again. Princess, are you inside? I gritted my teeth, squeezed my eyes shut, my mind involuntarily conjuring images of the impending embarrassment. Suddenly, I felt a familiar dizzying sensation, and the pressure against the door lessened unconsciously. Sure, he pushed the door open, only to find me sprawled on the floor. Naughty baby. You've made it difficult for Daddy to find you. I exhaled a sigh of relief. Thankfully, at that crucial moment, I had transformed back into a cat. He attempted to scoop me up, but he discovered my fur dampened by the bathroom water, and there lay a piece of clothing of indeterminate ownership on the floor. You know you've erred and still dare to hide. With that, he turned on the hot water, preparing to give me a bath. No, brother. Don't you intend to attend your class? I detest the weight of wet fur, and moreover, having just transformed back into a human, being scrubbed by him felt rather intimate. Thus, I struggled fiercely, splashing water onto him. Hiss. He grasped the scruff of my neck, lifting me up. Disobedient. You'll bathe with me today. With that, he effortlessly shed his clothing. I was left dumbfounded by his actions.
No.
I still wished to remain a pure little cat. However, he could not hear my inner cries. Thus, I watched helplessly as he removed all his garments. Oh, dear mother. I'm about to develop a nosebleed. But his physique seemed rather appealing. Lecherous cat, where are you looking? His words jolted me from my reverie. When he placed me down on the floor, I immediately dashed forward, eager to escape the bathroom. Yet he stood upright, pressing one hand against the door. Then, from seemingly nowhere, he produced a disposable chopstick, using it as a makeshift lock in the broken door latch. Now the door was completely sealed shut. He hoisted me under the hot water, utilizing special cat shampoo to lather me up. His slender fingers meticulously massaged every inch of my fur. I could distinctly feel the sensation of his fingertips, leaving me parched with desire. However, upon opening my eyes, I beheld the hot water cascading over his skin, droplets trailing down his elongated neck, then clinging to his red plumage before plunging into his abdominal muscles. But none of that compared to the earnestness reflected in his brows. His gentle gaze captured my image, as if amidst the myriad of cats in the world, he solely beheld and cherished me. Contemplating this, my heart began to race anew. Thump, 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 thump. I felt a resurgence of feelings for him. After the bath, sure he dried my fur and tidied up the shattered glass strewn across the floor. No more mischief, or you shan't have any cat treats. With that, he locked me inside the mosquito net. Fortunately, he finally recalled the purpose of his return. I observed him unlock his phone, his brows furrowing momentarily. Oh no, I forgot to close the text message page. Thankfully, he did not notice, but instead dialed my number. I feigned rolling around on the bed, while secretly observing. Indeed, the person on the other end did not answer the call, though I had anticipated this. A sense of unease lingered in my heart. 2 weeks passed and my anxiety intensified. It was now finals week and the holiday was fast approaching. Although I was sure he would take me home, I truly did not wish to spend the new year at someone else's house. Fortunately, during this time, I had gathered some information. Regarding my disappearance, the boys speculated that I had fallen ill and requested a long leave from the counselor. Regardless of who had impersonated me, at least it did not lead to unnecessary headlines, such as shock. College student mysteriously disappears late at night. Campus safety becomes a social concern. After the exams, the boys, adhering to tradition, indulged in one last hot pot meal in the dormitory. They returned with several boxes of wheat juice. Seizing the opportunity while they were busy washing the ingredients, I stealthily hid away 2 bottles. As they began their meal, I, not wanting my fur to absorb the hot pot's aroma, leaped onto Shurhi's bed. He appeared preoccupied during the meal, not partaking in any alcohol, and incessantly scrolling through his phone, seemingly awaiting someone's message. One of the boys sitting beside him nudged him. Shurgo, are you dating? You're glued to your phone. Sure, he turned off his phone, a faint smile tugging at his lips. No, just reviewing the assignments set by the teacher. There's still a week left. What's the rush? Besides, it's a group project. Just team up with someone who finishes it. However, Zhou Chongqing suddenly interjected, leaving me utterly stunned. My assignment was completed by Jinwan.
What?
Sure, he looked up in surprise. I asked her and she agreed, sending the document directly to me. He spoke with a tone of triumph. I found myself at a loss for words. To think that this was a paper I had toiled over during 3 sleepless nights. Who had taken my computer and handed my hard work to that obnoxious brat. While I fumed inwardly, I failed to notice Shirhe's expression darkening. The following day, I awoke to find it nearly afternoon, the other residents of the dorm already having returned home. Only Zhou Chongqing and Shirhe's beds remained unmade, yet both were absent from the dormitory. I retrieved the bottle of wheat juice from beneath the bed and, after much effort, managed to open it. Once I transformed back into a human, donned the clothes I had scavenged from Shirhe's wardrobe, and finished the remaining wheat juice, I hurriedly exited. By this time, there were few students left on campus. I made my way to the convenience store, seeking the kind-hearted owner to call home. Upon hearing the familiar voices of my parents resonating in my ears, my eyes grew warm, and I could not help but shed tears. They, too, were overwhelmed with excitement, incessantly inquiring about my recent well-being and whether I had faced any bullying. With tears streaming down my face, I recounted the extraordinary event of transforming into a cat. To my astonishment, they were unfazed by my revelation. It turned out this phenomenon was deeply rooted in our familial lineage. Members of the Jin family undergo a period of ancestral regression after reaching adulthood, the duration and medium of which vary unpredictably. And I was currently experiencing such a phase. So, the excuse for my absence was orchestrated by you? Indeed. And that dreadful phone of yours, inundated with messages. Your father and I were so concerned about maintaining your facade that we even sent assignments to your classmates in your tone. I felt a wave of embarrassment wash over me, realizing that the assignment given to Zhou Chongqing was a ploy by my parents to uphold my image. After all, prior to this incident, I had been somewhat of a sycophant. Darling, why don't you head back to your dorm and see what else you need to bring home? Your father will pick you up at the school gate. All right, I'll tidy up and bid farewell to a friend. After ending the call, I made my way towards the girls' dormitory, only to unexpectedly encounter someone along the way. Zhou Chongqing initially scrutinized me with a furrowed brow. Then, raising his head, he spoke to me in a haughty tone. Jinwan, I have accepted your confession.
What?
I was utterly bewildered. He clicked his tongue impatiently. Your confession. From today onwards, you are my girlfriend. I was taken aback by his audacity. Was this man truly willing to compromise his integrity just to avoid doing his homework? I could hardly believe he genuinely liked me. After all, he had spoken of me with disdain in the dormitory. It seemed more likely he intended to deceive me into helping him with his assignments, only to discard me before the semester commenced. I resolutely declined his proposal. I'm sorry, but I no longer harbor feelings for you. His expression shifted drastically as he seized my hand. Is it amusing to toy with me? Let go of me. As I struggled to free myself, a fist suddenly struck his face with such force that it sent him sprawling to the ground. Did you not hear her say to let go? My heart skipped a beat. It was Shirhe. How had he arrived? Zhou Chongqing wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, intimidated by Shirhe's beast-like demeanor, and retreated begrudgingly. Shirhe turned to me, the fury in his eyes still simmering. I instinctively took a step back, reminded of the times in middle school when he had used that very glare against boys who dared to provoke him, leading to physical altercations. He noticed my trepidation and hesitated to approach. What a coincidence, we're wearing the same outfit. Indeed, it was your attire. It seems we share similar tastes, haha. I replied with a forced smile. Where have you been lately? You haven't attended class or responded to messages. I was ill and resting at home. I chuckled awkwardly, only to realize the inconsistency in my statement. We aren't in the same class. How do you know I haven't been to school? He confidently retorted. I went to your class to look for you, but they said you weren't there each time. He then quietly complained, I waited downstairs at your dorm, but your roommate claimed she didn't know where you had gone. Anxiety crept in as I pondered how much longer I would remain in this form. Did you need something from me? I wanted to ask if you were free recently. Feeling that familiar wave of dizziness, I interrupted him before he could finish. I'm not free. Let us leave it at that. Please don't message me again. I feared that if I transformed back into a cat, I might be unable to reply. With that, I hurriedly fled, oblivious to the hurt expression that lingered on his face. Fortunately, I reached an isolated spot just in time to revert to my feline form. Regardless, it would take my father a few hours to arrive by car. So, I decided to return to the dormitory as a cat to bid farewell to Shirhi. Given his previous fervor in searching for a cat, I feared he might wreak havoc across the entire school otherwise. Upon my return, I found Zhou Chongqing also packing his belongings. He had left the dormitory door ajar, providing me an opportunity to slip inside. I waited in the dormitory until Zhou Chongqing departed and darkness enveloped the sky, at which point he finally returned. It was barely past 7, yet he appeared intoxicated and was sobbing incoherently. He climbed onto the bed and tightly embraced me. "Princess, Daddy has suffered a heartbreak." I widened my eyes in confusion. I have liked her for so long, from the second year of middle school until now, yet she won't even give me a chance. Surely, he could not be referring to me. It's one thing not to like me, but to have an inclination towards that scoundrel Zhou Chongqing. Indeed, he was speaking of me. "I have lost everything, and now you are all I have." With that, he disregarded my protests and pressed a heavy kiss upon me. The potent scent of alcohol assaulted my senses, and a familiar wave of dizziness engulfed me. Could it be that my worst fears were coming to fruition? Oh heavens! In the next moment, he found himself frozen, holding me, clad only in my undergarments, while we lay on the bed, staring wide-eyed at one another. I was the first to react, letting out a shriek as I wrapped myself in the blanket. He, too, was startled by the scene, his face flushing a brilliant shade of crimson, even causing blood to trickle from his nose. Once the chaos settled, we both sat stiffly on the edge of the bed, an awkward atmosphere permeating the air. "Ahem," he said, crumpling a tissue and stuffing it into his nostrils.
"So, all this time, the cat has been you?"
Reluctantly, I recounted everything that had transpired, including how I had nearly transformed into a cat earlier that day, which prompted my refusal of his advances. He suddenly grasped the situation. "No wonder you were wearing my clothes back then." As he contemplated this, his face flushed once more. "Given that we have shared a bed for so many days, and even bathed together." I interrupted his reminiscence, feebly inquiring, "What did you mean by those words earlier?" He hesitated for an extended period before decisively speaking up. "1. I have actually liked you for a long time." I was not particularly surprised, but remained silent, offering no response. He observed my reaction, gradually regaining his composure. "I owe you an apology. When I said those words back in middle school, I was unaware you were on the staircase." He bit his lip, appearing quite flustered. "After saying those things, I regretted it. I was too cowardly to admit my feelings for you, and you had every right to be angry." I sighed. "Your words back then, 'You are quite fat,' have left a lasting impact on me. Even to this day, I struggle with self-criticism and introspection. Despite knowing it wasn't my fault, the hurt you caused me is undeniably real, so I cannot forgive you just yet," he anxiously explained, tears welling in his eyes. "It's alright if you cannot forgive me, but could you grant me the opportunity to atone for my mistakes? I wish to pursue you earnestly." Seeing the sincerity in his gaze, I found myself momentarily at a loss for words, my hands nervously twisting the hem of my clothing. Should I accept his offer? Or should I decline? I was engulfed in an unprecedented internal struggle. To be honest, upon hearing his apology, I felt an overwhelming surge of emotion. I admitted to myself that I had never truly forgotten him, and through our recent close interactions, the once tumultuous feelings within me were gradually revitalizing. Yet, as I pondered, memories of the insecurities I had developed due to his hurtful comment flooded my mind. I had starved myself, shied away from mirrors, and only in college, after meeting a myriad of people and learning to love myself, did I begin to shed the prejudices I held against myself. Slimness is not the sole standard of beauty, nor is beauty the only criterion for love. Thus, I took a deep breath and said, "Let us go with the flow. We shall address future matters when the time comes." He appeared somewhat disheartened, but quickly rallied his spirits. "All right. Didn't you mention that your father is coming to pick you up? Allow me to escort you to the school gate." However, on the very next day, he anxiously knocked on my door at the break of dawn. Fortunately, I had consumed the family's ancestral remedy, which allowed me to maintain a semblance of vitality temporarily. I opened the door with a face full of displeasure. "Brother, do you have any idea what time it is?" "It's only 6 o'clock." I could hardly wait. "I suddenly recalled something and couldn't he sleep a wink last night," he replied. Observing his disheveled hair and the dark circles under his eyes, I struggled to suppress the urge to deliver a good thrashing. "Spit it out, what is it?" "I forgot to tell you yesterday. Please don't develop feelings for Zhou Chongqing. He is not a good person." I was somewhat taken aback that he would bring up Zhou Chongqing unprompted. Though it's inappropriate to speak ill of others behind their backs, he said, his cheeks flushing. If he confesses to you, you must not acquiesce. He merely desires to mooch off your assignments. When school commenced, he casually critiqued your character in the dormitory. I was furious and ended up in a fight with him. We have been at odds ever since. Suddenly, I recalled that it was indeed during the start of the semester when I fainted on campus due to menstrual pain, and it was Zhou Chongqing who carried me to the infirmary. I was touched by his kindness, which led me to develop feelings for him thereafter. What did he say about me in the dormitory? It is perhaps better for you to remain oblivious to this. Tell me, it is of great importance to me. Sure, he closed his eyes, displaying a countenance of reluctance. He claimed that you mistakenly thought he was the one who took you to the infirmary, and he even mocked you, saying that you were too heavy for him to carry. I then vehemently countered him, asserting that he was weak, for I had no trouble whatsoever carrying you to the infirmary. That's when we ended up fighting. My mind was left in a state of disbelief. So, it was you who took me to the infirmary after all. He scratched his head. Yes, but I knew you didn't wish to see me. So, I departed before you could notice. So that was it. A sudden clarity washed over me. Upon regaining consciousness, I had naturally perceived Zhou Chongqing as my savior. He did not refute my assumption but rather basked in the comfort of my gratitude towards him. Thus, I had mistakenly attributed my admiration to the wrong person from the start. Yet for reasons unknown, I felt no anger, only a sense of relief. Have you had breakfast? Shall we go have some together? Faced with my unexpected invitation, he appeared momentarily stunned. Yes, yes. The morning sunlight cascaded upon the retreating figures of the youthful couple. You inquire about the future? Let us simply go with the flow. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe. Until we meet again in the next tale.